Hi everyone, today I'm going to show you how to install camber plates in your F80 BMW M3, and obviously this process is the same in an F82, F83, F87, M2, and actually quite similar across different models in BMW's lineup. So real quick, I actually kind of got started in here because initially I was going to do one side, see how that works out, and do the other on video. But I realized that I might as well do both at the same time because it requires removal of all these braces here. So let me take you on this journey here, and I'll show you how easy it is. And a camber plate, essentially, in case you didn't know, this is a camber plate. There are many makes and models out there. I chose this one particularly because of the color. But again, a lot of different ones out there. I'm going to link some of them in the description. But what the camber plates allow you to do is they allow you to dial in more camber. So the top of the tire here actually is going to go in, which helps with cornering, especially at the track. And a hidden benefit is if you are running wider tires, if you have more front camber, you can actually tuck the tires up front, and it eliminates some of the rub. But anyways, this is what we have here so far. So what I did was, and a lot of you who know about DIY, you know that it's easy to remove the carbon strut brace. So that's exactly what I did. I removed all the rubber insulations and whatnot. Next is I'm going to remove this aluminum brace. And what's actually helping me with this job today, I've got to say, is this. I have to recommend this product. I got it the other day. You can pick it up on Amazon. I'm going to link it below. It's called Grip Mat, but it's absolutely crucial if you want to organize yourself and the tools. It's super grippy. You can put it at an angle. You can see nothing slips, and you can keep yourself organized. It's actually very helpful inside. It's got a real tiny ruler here, both in inches and centimeters, so it's really helpful. And then on the side, what we have here is, on the side, I jacked up my car using these awesome ESCO jacks, 6,000 pounds capacity each. And the beauty of these jacks is they're super flat, so they will no longer make an indentation in my driveway, and they're flat up top. They can go really high, really low, and super safe. So all the nuts and bolts from the brace have been removed. One thing to keep in mind, the brace has all these holes here for these nuts. The ones in here are actually E14, so you can notice the difference. The fatter one goes here and one on the other end, E14, and all the rest of them are actually E12. See the difference? E12 and E14. And obviously down here in the back, you've got two 16mm bolts that are removed using a regular ratchet. And last was also, I loosened up this bracket here to make things nice and easily accessible. And the final step is to actually move this brace, and it simply just slides out like this. Make sure you don't scratch anything, and you put it in a safe place. And seriously, when you're doing this type of work, do yourself a favor and invest in a proper set of tools. This set of tools I have is not very expensive, but this got all the different E and hex and all types of combinations. Obviously I've got my regular set of tools, but this is what I call a specialized set of tools with different endings and whatnot. And of course I also have my impact set of tools with my impact gun. And lately I've been using also this Keys Motorsports branded lug tool, which has this plastic covering here, and it protects your wheels from getting damaged, and looks pretty cool, and it supports your local business. So I'm going to link all of this in the description below. I actually completed the other side off camera just to make sure I fully understand it, that I don't miss anything. It's actually pretty straightforward. So now let me walk you through exactly what I'm going to be doing. Everything I'm going to do next, I'm going to do on camera, so you can see exactly how involved this process is. So anyways, we obviously took the wheel off, and what we're going to do is we're going to drop the shock and sort of swivel it out so we can take out the strut tops, or the shock mounts, whatever you want to call them. But before we do that, obviously we need to undo all these clips. Then you've got the ABS sensor, the brake wear sensor, and then going down here, the ABS sensor is held on this bracket. This will snug a little bit, so we'll remove it as well. Oops, not the box. This side has this leveling sensor, which the other side does not have. So we're just gonna have to undo it, because when we drop it, we don't want to damage the sensor. To undo the end link, you need two tools. You need a 16mm wrench, as well as a T30 hex. And the way it works is, you stick the hex in the middle, like this, and then you grab your wrench and simply undo it. Okay. See, and the hex is actually holding it in the middle. What I found to be easier is lock the hex in place, and you just spin this guy. Should come right off. And since the car is leveled, there's no tension on it, so it comes right out. Next is we're going to undo this leveling sensor. This is a 10mm, but if you start undoing it, it's going to start spinning. So what you want to do is you want to grab maybe some needle nose pliers, hold it here, and undo the other side. Next, you take your jack and you put it under the front rotor and jack it up just to relieve the tension from the strut. You want to compress the spring just a little bit. So check this out. See, the spring is compressing, and what this will allow us to do is this will allow us to undo this top strut nut. Next is we're going to grab this special strut nut tool, and I'm going to link everything in the description, including this guy. And the way it works is you put it on top, and this allows you to at least loosen it up for now. But then as you start loosening up, the center is going to spin. So then you're going to use a 10mm wrench to prevent it from spinning. Check this out. You put a 10mm here, you hold it to prevent it from spinning. You just gotta keep doing it until you undo it, unfortunately. Now, if you did not have a jack underneath, the shock would simply drop. So that's the reason we have a jack underneath. You will not be reusing this, but we want to keep it in a safe place in case you want to bring things back to stock. And with the strut nut undone, what we can do now is we move on to the jack and we loosen it ever so slightly. And as you can see, it will come right out of its mounting point. The spring is decompressing, and we just want to have just enough clearance to remove this guy. Next, you're going to use a 16mm socket to remove 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of these bolts, which removes the top hat of the strut. Now, when you take the last one out, be sure to hold it from the bottom, because it will simply drop. And also, you will not be reusing these, but definitely keep them in a safe place in case you want to go back to stock. And the last one, my hand is underneath holding it. If it doesn't drop, you simply tap it, but make sure to keep the gasket that's underneath intact. Next, you take your camber plates, and depending on the model you get, they can have a left and a right side. These do, and these actually show you where the driver front is. So there's an arrow pointing this way, and that actually makes sense because the camber slides this way and that way, so it allows you to push the top of the tire in or out. So, anyways, the way it works is you remove these 13mm nuts. There's also this strut nut. You can also take these guys out. These attach the aluminum brace, and essentially what you do is you take this whole thing, slide it under the car, and put it up from the top. There's no way you can misalign it because you have 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and then one here, so there's no way you can misalign it. And again, just make sure that the bearing is sitting nice and even. This bearing actually pops up, so if it drops on you, don't worry about it. But again, it also depends on the design. So I'm going from underneath, sliding it in. Perfect. Don't worry, it's not going to be this loose. It'll get snugged. Then you just grab your 13mm and snug it in place. And next you take your torque wrench, and I've got this awesome digital torque wrench, and the manual states to tighten it to 18 pound-feet of torque, although it's engraved on this to tighten it to 15. So I'm gonna go by what the manual says. So again, 18 is set on the monitor, and it goes without saying that you tighten it just like you would tighten your wheels. So this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, in some sort of a crisscross pattern. You want to tighten it like this because you want it to be evenly distributed. And now both sides on my end will be adjusted the same. So to adjust the camber, you use these Allen bolts, and you just basically adjust it up or down as you please. But I will take my car to an alignment shop in a couple of days to dial it in perfectly. Next step is you take your jack and align the strut. Next, you take the new strut nut and you tighten it, and actually goes all the way in. Now, you will not be able to use the 17mm one. This is a 22mm one. I do not have one handy, so I have to improvise, but I'm going to leave a link in the description to the 22 one so you can easily do it. So this is my improvisation. I take this massive tool and I hold the 10mm in place, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask my alignment shop to tighten it for me, just in case. And this side is now completed, and so is this, which is essentially our mirror image. They actually look quite pretty, but what we have to do next is start putting things back together. So we're going to put the aluminum brace on top, which will be held by these nuts over here, but also everything here, let's not forget, we have to put back together, but that's pretty straightforward. It's just a reversal of what we did initially. So let's get this done. And we're done. Aside from me putting together the shock sensors in, we should be good to go. But you notice there are a couple of bolts left. That is because the design of the OEM top hat is slightly different from the camber plate, which doesn't allow me to use all the bolts. Now, is it a big deal? No, but see, you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then this one only has 3. There we go. And I will not be putting these plastics here because I want the alignment shop to have easy access to everything. I'm gonna leave it in the garage, but once I'm done with everything, I'll put everything back to stock. I hope this was somewhat helpful if you are installing your camber plates. I have to say, it's not that difficult of a job. If you use the second jack method of loosening up the tension of the spring and drop it a little bit, it's a pretty straightforward job, and it's just undoing some nuts and bolts and putting things back together. So don't be afraid to do it yourself, and also don't overpay a shop to do this, because it took me, an amateur, maybe with filming and everything, 2 hours max. Next stop is the alignment shop, but I won't bore you with it. Let me know what you thought of it by commenting below. If you appreciate this video, give me a thumbs up, it really helps me. And as always, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.